Welcome to What's Next, a Kindred Communications podcast where I sit down with the people making things happen across our region, in business, in events, and our community. I'm your host, Reeves Kirtner. Today's guest is someone you probably already have an opinion about. If you live in Huntington, you've almost certainly seen his post. He's the creator of one of the most visited Facebook pages in town, Alligator Jackson's Inside Huntington, a page closing in on 60,000 followers and a daily stop for thousands of people who want to know what's happening around the city. Some people love what he does, saying he keeps Huntington informed and connected. Others think he stirs the pot. Either way, people are paying attention. But who is the real Alligator Jackson? Where did the name come from? What's his real name? Why did he start the page? When did it start to take off? And what does he think about the praise and the criticism that comes with building something that big? Today, we'll talk about all of it. Alligator Jackson, thanks for being here, man. I sincerely appreciate that. If I had to create a Mount Rushmore of the most interesting people in Huntington, I think you would be up there on that list.
Well, apparently Huntington Quarterly didn't think so, because I was left off the top 10.
Well, we'll have to get with Jack and see what's going on.
And I've written a couple articles for him.
I got it. So here's what I want to start with. And today I want to talk about Alligator Jackson's Inside Huntington, your page.
Yeah.
But for the people that only know you from the page, who is Alligator Jackson, the person?
Hey, I'm just a guy who just wants to help people, man. A long time ago, I got into this because I realized a lot of people just didn't have a voice. So by creating a voice for myself, I created a voice for others.
So where are you from? Are you born and raised in Huntington, West Virginia?
I've been kind of around, man. I was a part of a railroad family, and I got started in Cincinnati, Ohio, where I got my love for Skyline Chili.
Okay.
And was in Cumberland, Maryland, and then my dad got transferred. He used to run the shops down here for CSX, so ended up here and just never left.
So what year was that when you got down here?
About 1976, the bicentennial year.
Okay, and here we are in another one this year.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's big.
Year.
Yeah. And it's also it's like the 20th year of Alligator Jackson too. So it's a big year, man.
Holy cow! All right,
2026 is big.
That is crazy. So, talk about what were you doing before this page existed? Before we got started, you talked about doing a lot of traveling. I mean, what all have you personally been involved with?
You know, it all started with music, like a lot of things do, except I really never could. I didn't have the talent, you know. I don't have the face for TV, and I don't have the voice for radio or to sing, but I could write. So, I always wrote, but then when I started working, I kind of got away from that. And then, around the turn of the century, make it sound like it was a long, long time ago, but 2000, I noticed some things. My second cousin was Scott Weiland, the lead singer of Stone Temple Pilot. He was doing what he loved. I had been watching, 10 years before that, I was watching Billy Ray. I'd go down and watch Billy Ray, and I've seen him doing great things. And my guy I grew up with, across the street, Jeff Westlake, he was traveling the world with hydrogen. So I was like, I want to play this game too. So I had a new job. I was out on the road. I was traveling like 80,000 miles a year. My mind was just wandering. It was everywhere. And so I just started writing, and I started doing music, and I hired people to actually do the music. Music actually went around the world too. So and that's what started. There's been layers. I've just added layers and layers. We're 20th year of Alligator Jackson, and it's got a lot of layers.
Yeah, that's right. So outside of the page, what's your day job?
The day job is I'm a recreational therapist at River Park Hospital.
Okay.
So I'm in the mental health, and so I get a lot of inspiration because I see things you just can't make up. Man.
I bet I'm sure we could do like a whole episode just on that,
stuff,
on what you see.
Hey, if it wasn't for HIPAA, I'd have some bestsellers out there. I'll tell you right now, the reality show.
What all does that entail? What do you do at River Park? What is that?
Just try to help people. I can be the good guy. Help people learn new things like writing.
Okay.
Teach them write a little bit. We play games. Yeah, I play games for a living.
That's cool.
So I like it. It's a stress-free job. I've been there for like 14 years, so kind of got away from being on the road or managing. I mean, I've done a little bit of everything. Yeah, I'm going to be 62. Started working in 1981 at Big Bear, and I've just been around.
How did you get River Park Hospital?
I just needed, after my company downsized, I worked on the road for 8 years and drove almost 1 million miles in that time. I just wanted to do something that, I was making good money, but I just didn't feel like I was doing anything. I didn't have that intrinsic feeling. But helping people is something that always came natural to me, that I always loved. See, I have an uncle who just died this year they're trying to get into sainthood, and Catholic sainthood, from East St. Louis, Joe Hubbard. He just did great things for over 60 years, and I always wanted to be like him, but then I always tried to be like my dad, who was this business guy, worked 40 years for the railroad. So I started out trying to be like my dad, but after he passed, I wanted to be more like, I had that empty feeling, and then once my mom died, I was like, I've got to. So I became more like my uncle.
Okay.
Tried.
So Alligator Jackson, that is not your birth name.
No. Some people, I get called Mr. Jackson a lot.
So what is Alligator Jackson's real name, and where did the name Alligator Jackson come from?
David Williams is what my birth name is,
okay.
I guess. But so Alligator Jackson, I was doing Southern rock is what I was writing, and I was trying to think of a good Southern rock name, and I was driving out of Pomeroy, Ohio, and there used to be this flea market up there called Alligator Jack's.
Okay.
And it had a big figure and everything. I just started thinking it, and I was doing beer drinking country songs, and I thought, hey, this could also be a play on Alan Jackson.
Okay.
And I just started using that when I was doing writing, and I think I wrote a book called The Legend of Alligator Jackson, about a beer drinking, guitar playing alligator, and it just, before I knew it, I was doing cartoons. I was at an internet radio show, and this is before 2010.
Right. Pre-2010 is when the name. When did the name get started? What year did you have this epiphany?
Well, it started. I came up with it like 2005. So around 2005, 2006 so it's been 20 years that Alligator Jackson's actually.
Okay.
I put out my first album in 2006.
Under the name Alligator Jackson?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Now let's talk about, kind of move over to the page. Your Alligator Jackson's inside Huntington. You kind of mentioned this, giving people a voice, but what made you start this page?
Just seeing everything that's going around me, and I hate to. This is really a sad thing to talk about.
What year was this?
This was, the page actually started around 2011.
Okay.
Around then, and Huntington. I hate to go back and revisit this, but it was a hard time for Huntington. And I was living right in the middle of downtown Huntington. And every time I take my dog out for a walk, and my dog likes to walk, I'd be seeing police cars everywhere. There'd be somebody overdosing. There would be, there was a murder. My next door neighbor got murdered. Somebody else got murdered in between, my apartments. It was just a lot of bad things. And I started realizing what the drug problem was, because I'd see a lot of people that were homeless or just around there, and I talked to them. I got to know them. They got to be friends, and I was trying to help them. And then I'd started working at River Park around that time and started trying to work with people who were on drugs a little bit. And it's really how the Alligator Jackson thing transpired into Inside Huntington, was trying to help people come to grip with the drug epidemic, which after a while I kind of moved past that, because
sure.
it just tears you up. I've never done a drug in my life, so it's something that was hard for me to relate to. But I've had, I know over 50, 60 people that's died.
Did you feel that something was missing in local coverage, local conversation?
Oh, definitely, man. There's nobody want to talk about. It's Huntington's dirty little secret. And here's an interesting story, man. I had a guy stumble on my webpage. He worked for Frontline. He was a producer of a PBS show that was been on for decades. And he came into town. He was doing something on insurance fraud and Oxycontins, and he saw my page and he was intrigued. And this was like 2012, this is before it really hit. And we drove around, and I told him about all these things, and then he went and met with Steve Williams the next day, and then he called me back, and he goes, he's from Connecticut. He goes, I thought Huntington looked great. You know, I read your problem. I mean, I read all the stuff you wrote, and I didn't see any needles. I didn't see any Detroit or Michigan license plates. I didn't see people passed out or anything. And then I talked to the mayor, and he said, I really didn't see anything really that there's a story. Well, within 6 months, the dirty little secret came out from behind closed doors, and you started seeing people passed out on the streets. You started seeing the needles. You started seeing the murders. And then we had BBC in here. We had CBS. Every network in the world, Germany, from all over were coming here.
Sure.
We were the ground floor of the epidemic.
That's right.
I mean, we had Netflix, HBO, you name it. They were here.
When you first started this page, what did you think it would become, if anything?
I was just hoping to save some of my friends' life, some of the people that I knew, and some of my patients' life. But most of the people that I set out to save have died. And there's some people I can really talk about that I'm really proud of, like Brianna, who's always been like my daughter, you know, and well, she is my daughter, not my biological, but I dated her mom for a long time. Her mom died from the drug epidemic, but Bree has gone on to great things, and she was on the path, man. I remember one time somebody knocked on my door. She had overdosed out in the alley, and I went out there, pulls in a fire truck. Jan Rader was there, and they saved her, and she's working over at OVP over in South Point, saving lives herself.
How do you think the page has helped people? Like, in what ways?
I think it's let people feel like they belong, like they have a voice. That I've had people, they write me all the time. They need help. They need try to get a hold of food, or whether you're trying to find a job, or no matter what, you just want somebody to listen to you, or whatever it is. You know, I try to help people have a voice.
So, but now, I mean, you mentioned it kind of was born out of the opioid epidemic. But now you share event listings, you do restaurant updates and reviews and Marshall news and so forth. When and why did you kind of transition to, more just being the community news guy on Facebook?
It's just always been a natural evolution, I think. My page has always been about what's trending. You know, You see what's trending on all these networks and everything. That's basically what it is. What's trending local? What are we talking about? What do you want to hear? What are you interested in? And we've evolved as a tri-state. We've gone into different things, and it's just been along for the ride with everybody.
So was there a point during this page when you were like, holy cow, this thing is really taken off? I mean, you've got 60,000 followers now.
There's been a couple real big spurts. At the time during the drug epidemic, it was because the goals were a little bit different. It was just reporting on what was going on, because so many people live in a bubble. They don't want to realize what's going on around them. They want to sit there and watch Happy Days, like they're back in the 80s and everything was good. But and there's a lot of nostalgia on my page too. I've tried to write a lot about the great things in time, because I really believe that Huntington was a great, great city, and I think we can make it great again, and I think we're on the way there. There's just so much positive happening around there, and that's what's really great, because my page started because of negativity, and now it's transitioning into positivity, and it really, really feels good. I mean,
that's good.
I never knew if we were ever going to get to this point or not. But we're here, and it feels good, and I hope in my lifetime that all of the things around me, I live right across the street from the cybersecurity building that they're building. I get to walk out every day. I used to walk to work from River Park right down the street from where I've lived for like 8 years, and I watched the Brad D. Smith Center of Business and Innovation sprout up from the nastiness it was, because it was the flats.
That's right.
There was people living there. There was people dying inside of it, overdosing, and it was caught on fire a couple times. It was just trash everywhere. It was horrible. It was a depressing thing to walk, but my life got better as they started and it's happening again across the street. I'm seeing And at some point they're going to knock down my building, which I'm all for it, man. I just want them. They're going to turn it into a parking garage. I'm just hoping that they can put a plaque inside that says Alligator Jackson lived here.
Right. This is where Alligator Jackson's bed was. What were some of those posts or moments, over the last 15, 20 years of this page, where it's really started to? What were some specific posts outside of the epidemic that things really started to take off with it?
I hate to really talk about this one because I don't really mention it a lot because it's not something I'm real proud of. But one of the biggest things there ever was is Jimmy thing.
What is this? Help me out.
It was a guy who some people that I knew said he was really reliable. He tried to say that the person he was living with, his wife, had buried bodies in the yard and everything. And Fox News even picked up a segment of it. It didn't turn out to be, but news media didn't want to cover it, and I was the alternative media there. I was like, yeah, because I didn't know he knew some things that a lot of people just didn't know.
Okay.
And
so what were you posting about this?
I was just giving him a voice.
Okay.
I didn't necessarily believe it. I just gave him a voice, and people were like, they couldn't get that anywhere else.
Okay, that was one of them. All right, what was going? And I'll come back to that, topics like that, but. What was going through your head as these numbers were increasing, and you're close to 60,000 followers now? What was going through your head when these numbers started to climb?
Well, the Jimmy thing, it got me up close to 20,000, which was a lot of followers back then. It was just I was just following the path. I was just I really wasn't thinking about the future or anything like that because I hadn't been doing the page that long. I was just wanting to see if it was really bodies or not.
Sure. Okay.
I didn't really know. I was an interested fan myself.
Sure. Why do you think people started to follow the page? Is that
I was providing something that people, the local news is just kind of limited. You only get one side of it.
Okay.
And I was providing other slants. I was letting people play along. It was interactive. Okay. It wasn't just news talking to you. You were actually part of the news, and your views mattered. You sent me something, I posted it.
Sure.
And things like that. Then we had the Krispies thing happen a few years ago, and it just went. I was exposed to millions of people across. I was picked up. Channel, I believe it was Channel 8 covered it and Channel 13 covered it, but podcasters picked it up. A real well-known podcaster, Matt Walsh, who was a conservative, he really he complimented me and said great things about me. And the Hodge twins, very, very popular, a TikTok, liberals of TikTok. Altogether, I think there was over between 6 and 8 million views.
So were they taking, you did a podcast with them.
Yeah.
Were they taking clips from that and sharing you? Is that how that?
Yeah, it was sharing it. Then they interviewed me and said certain things and talked about me and that kind of thing. So that got me exposed to a whole different
I got it.
Different parts of the country.
How much time are you spending on this a day, this page?
Well, this is still my rec therapy, man. This is still how I cope. It almost got to the point, and at times it does, whenever you get Gator haters out there, it almost gets to the point where it becomes stressful. But I just can't believe people are listening to me, and it's not my day job. I've got a day job where I stress, so I really can't do a whole lot during the day, but I get home at night, and it's just great to kick back. Believe it or not.
So that's your evenings? You're sitting on your recliner and you're
sitting around and just posting whenever I can, or I can be over at the gym working out.
Sure.
And I just pull my phone out, something that doesn't take long, and it actually still calms me down. I still love doing it.
So when you've got close to 60,000 followers, in a small community, we're not a major metropolitan area. Does it start to feel like a responsibility?
It did for a while, but I just didn't let it. And what I did, it is something that inside Huntington is something that I do every day to try for everybody else. But I got two other pages. I got Gator Chomps, which it grew to like 12,000, but it's kind of where other people's doing food. It's getting a little old. But I got just a regular Alligator Jackson page, which actually started back in 2010 as my music page. But now it's involved in my creative writing, where I just write blogs and I write creative stuff. And that's fun for me. I get up and I can't wait because I love to write.
I got it.
And this is why I always did it. And I think if I wanted to go into broadcasting, but my dad wouldn't let me, and why would he? I had no voice. I had no looks. I didn't have a whole lot to play on. But just the love of writing has carried me since I was a kid. Whether it be music or just stories, or I've written books, it's magazine articles. It's just fun. It's what I enjoy doing. And I think a part of the advantage of that is and the reason why I love it so much, because it isn't my job. I think if I would have started out in broadcasting, I'd probably still be working at a mental hospital because I probably would have gotten burned out on it, and I just wouldn't have any hobbies.
How do you decide what to post and what not to post? And I guess specifically what I mean is, the story that you mentioned earlier that kind of blew up. There's controversial there. You don't, do you ever worry about backlash or getting something wrong on a controversial topic?
Yeah, it is. And sometimes, the world's so divided. If I write something that leans to the left, the people to the right's going to get mad at me. Then I've turned around, and if I write something to the right, then the people from the left are mad at me. So it's kind of hard to stay with that. But I had one of the many jobs that I did in my life is I was a sales rep for Goldsmith Sidner, and one of my mentors was a guy named Fred Spurlock, who I think passed a few years ago. But Fred always said, good salesman doesn't buy for his customers. So I feel like I'm putting stuff out there. I'm going to put what I feel is something you might want to know, and whether I think you're going to like it or not, you make up your mind. Now, some people hate me. They'll say, well, you posted that, so I'm going to block you, and I'm never going to follow your page again or anything like that. But that's not my intentions. And people think I do things for controversy. No, I just put it out there, and you decide if you like it. I'm not buying for you, Well,
you mentioned the Gator haters.
Oh, you got to have them.
And, some people say that, he just likes to stir the pot. When you hear that, what do you say?
I mean, I'm not going to say I don't like to stir the pot. I mean, who doesn't like attention, man? It's all mental health when it comes down to it, but that's not the full reason for it. I mean, I'm here. You come to me a lot. You know what I'm saying? The reader, I don't go out there and force it. Well, I guess now Facebook does, algorithms and all that. They do give you stuff you don't necessarily want to, but I just put it out there, and I'm not going to buy for you. If you love me or hate me, I'm still enjoying doing it because I want to make sure these are things I feel like you need to know. And that's why I just put it out there. But it has gotten almost ridiculous, man. I went to WMUL a couple of years ago. They were having some type of an event down there, and they were playing music outside of the student center. And the lady goes, "Oh, yeah, I was going to answer your email the other day, or that you posted. You sent me on Instagram saying that you were going to do a music spot for us or something." And I said, "Huh?"
A fake page.
There's so many. I'm only on Facebook. Now, I do have a few pages on Facebook, but I'm not on Instagram. And it's fun. That's why I use a lot of AI now on the Alligator Jackson page because I make fun of myself. I'm one of my biggest characters. I have an AI version of me that was drinking beer with Kelsey the other day. It didn't actually happen.
So what's funny about that is, Gator, one, I've seen what you're referring to on your AI stuff, and I thought that was fake. I mean, I'm sorry, I did not think that was you posting those. So you're kind of in on not the joke. You're in on it a little bit.
Well, I'm not in on the one on Instagram.
I got that. Okay, Instagram is not Alligator Jackson.
Just the plain Alligator Jackson is me making fun of myself. Okay. And I'm nostalgic. I got a little bit of everything. Like I wrote an article the other day on Big Bear that a lot of people really, really loved. And I wrote on regional restaurants today. Just things I love. The page Alligator Jackson is more about me and what I like, because a lot of people are like me. Maybe not as weird or as strange, but they're like me. But yeah, it's me satiring me because I get it. I get the joke. I realize I'm a little strange sometimes.
you're the complete opposite of me when it comes to Facebook and social media. 10 or 15 years ago, yes, I would post my opinions, and then people would disagree. And I would get mad because I'm right and you're wrong, and I'm like, and then I just, the last 5-6 years, probably pre-COVID or whatever, I've just kind of stopped posting anything. I'm like, screw it. All I post are pictures of my family. I self-promote this podcast and my company and what we're doing, and that's it. You obviously you're opposite of that. You're posting any and everything. I don't take myself seriously. Well, I was going to ask, how do you handle the negative stuff, the negative comments and the haters and people making parody pages and stuff?
I think it's funny, the parody thing. I get it. I mean, I'm not 100% Alligator Jackson. I mean, this is maybe it's part of working in the mental health industry, but there's actually two people there. There's David Williams, and Alligator Jackson is just a character. So I've learned there's times I got my feelings hurt. Have I called people out in an alley? Yeah. But I mean, to most fact, I get it. I get the joke. I realize how over the top Alligator Jackson can be, but I also know who David Williams is, and I know that most people that know David Williams like David Williams. I have very few personal enemies who know David Williams and don't like him, but a lot of people hate Alligator Jackson because they only want to hear what they have to say anymore. It's not like the world I grew up in. We used to love to debate, used to negotiate, compromise.
That's right.
That's off the table now. Social media is partly responsible for that, but it's just crazy times we're living. Nobody wants to listen. Everybody wants to talk.
You're right. Let's talk about Huntington for a minute. You've mentioned some positive stuff going on in Huntington. What else gives you optimism about Huntington right now? You mentioned
there's a lot of growth.
Yeah, what else?
I mean, we always had good people here, and that's the thing. You just have to give them an opportunity to shine. And I'll tell you what, social media, my page, and Aaron Michael Fox's Downtown Huntington page, and the Huntington Quarterly, it's giving the people a chance to shine, showcase who some of these people are, because there's some really great people that's doing great things. We are the most giving community I have ever seen, man. There's so many great people that I don't even want to start mentioning them, but you see great things like, you see Goodwill, you see Salvation Army. Of course, those are national companies, but you got local people too. You got Love on the Sidewalk, which is a, regeneration. There's just so many people out there helping somebody. And if somebody sends in something to me that says that they're in trouble, that they don't know if they're going to make it or not, man, people rush to help, whether it's coats or food or whatever it is. It's saving hunger. I mean, there's so many great people out there doing God's work.
Yeah. So this podcast is called What's Next, and so I'm going to kind of go that direction now. What's next for Alligator Jackson and inside Huntington?
I hope to keep evolving. I'm just happy to wake up on this side of the ground. I'm 62 years old. There was times a few years ago when it looked like I was going to die. And I've started taking better care of myself, and I just want to write and hopefully tell my story and tell other people's story, and that's just as important to me, telling other people's stories, as what it is telling my own story, because I think my story's been told. I hope I still have new chapters to write, but I just want to help show other people, man. Yeah, I mean, that's part of my Uncle Joe coming out of me, man. It's not always about me, and that's why people that think I'm the Alligator Jackson's horrible, think it's because I'm self-centered and I'm obnoxious and I'm loud, and that's just not who David Williams is.
Do you have a number goal? You're at 60 now. Do you want to get to 75? Would you like to go 100,000? Do you care about that? I do.
No.
Okay.
No, I really don't, because I've got 7,000 on Alligator Jackson. I got 6 on my personal page, and I got 12 on Chomp. So I'm really a lot higher than 60. I'm like,
some of those are repeat people.
I'd rather have people that like me. There are other people just want to see what that's not really. Numbers, I've never been a numbers guy.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and I should have asked this earlier. Someone one time told me that someone said to them that I get my news from Alligator Jackson. What's that like?
I've heard that a lot. I mean, that's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. I try to let people know what's going on because I think it's very, very, very important to have an awareness of what's going on. Now, it's important to, and what people don't understand, what I try to do with the news is I want to give you everybody's perspective. You know, I may go to mainstream media, but then I'll also go to maybe something that's a little off the charts a little bit that you don't know. But I think it's important to look at, not get the one-sided. You know, I want to try to be. I hate to use this term, fair and balanced, because I don't think Fox always is. But you know what I'm saying. I want to present. I want you to make up I want to throw you all the news, and you pick through it, and you sort and choose what to believe and form your own opinion, and not just listen, because blind faith in this day and age will get you killed.
That's right.
You can't have blind faith. You need to know what is going on, research it, and form your own opinion to what. And I just try to help people. I don't necessarily just do left or right or in the middle. I just try to put it all there, and you make up in your mind what you want to buy. Because why? Because you never buy for your customer.
How often do people say, "Hey, can you post this for me?" I know you do your
Gators. All the time, all day.
How many times a day?
It's about 5 or 6 times a day at least. You know,
it
used to be, you know, during the whole Krispies thing, it got crazy, but I've made a lot of those people mad.
What kind of requests you get to post?
Just anything, whether I try to stay away from GoFundMes. I know people need help, but, you know, it's too easy to scam. I don't want to, as much as I want to help somebody, I don't want to help somebody else get scammed.
That's right.
So,
I know.
So I try to stay, it's tough sometimes to turn down some of these requests. But I just get all kinds.
That's smart. That's smart on that.
Yeah, whether it's somebody opening up a new restaurant or somebody struggling and wants me to come and try their food, or somebody wants me to play their song on my radio show, or somebody just reaches out and say, "Hey man, hang in there. I know you have rough times too," but I try to be a positive force, which I'm kind of steering inside Huntington, where it's less about me at all and just about everything else. And I've got my page, Alligator Jackson. It's about me, and that's where, you know, that's where you get my real feelings, and no politics anymore on there. It's just stuff that trend, entertainment, you know, news, stuff like that.
You mentioned, you know, people want you to come out to the restaurant, and I know on your page you've got a place. Hey, if you'd like to sponsor me, you can. How is that going? Do you make any money off the page? I know you've attempted to, and that's okay.
Yeah, I was partnered with a marketing company for a while, but I'm not now. You know, I'm not really interested, and it's not about the money for me. Facebook's monetized, but it doesn't pay what it used to. And for about a year, I was suspended for making money on because of AI. It was nothing I did. It's just I was trying to help get a gun off the street. You know, somebody said, "Hey, I got this gun stolen out of my car. We got to try to get this back." Well, they flagged me for trying to sell guns.
Understand.
And then, so
yeah, but you're not the first. That stuff. When you're doing a lot of posts and you got a lot of followers, they're gonna.
But it's not about the money anymore.
I understand.
I'm always open for something. I didn't even, actually was the company that put that on my page, but I really don't. I do things for free.
I got it.
People think that I get free food. I'm not going to say every now and then I don't get, because one thing I learned, you know, it was like policy for me. No, I'm not. I'm going to pay for mine. No, you can't. But then I still realized it was insulting. Some of these people really wanted that I was doing something for them, so they wanted to give. So if somebody wants to give me a burger, I'll eat it. But I pay. I don't do that to struggling places.
I got it. Well, again, I'll say this: there is a value in it for them, for you to promote their restaurant, 100%, and you got an audience. 12, 7, 60,000 followers, whatever it is. There's a value there. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, I mean, I work for a living, and I know it's struggling. Now, there's a lot of local places I will not accept food from. Like when Truck and Cheesy was open, I will not accept anything from them. Gumbo Stop, I love them people. I won't. I want to help them.
I understand.
But somebody, Texas Roadhouse, and they have before, called me, and they want to give me a free meal, and they're making millions or something. Yeah, I'm not going to say, because it does take my time to go do things, but it's not about the money. It's not about the free food. And everybody, I got a lot of criticism from that because people's like, you like everything. That like my opinion don't mean anything. But the thing of it is, there's two sides of this. One, I do like everything. Look, man, I like to eat. I can't, I'm not hard to please when it comes to food. I mean, if you bring me in here a bowl of Campbell's soup, I'll eat it, and I like it. Good bowl of soup. But on the other side of it is, I'm not going to bash anybody, man. I'm not going to hurt anybody. I'm not out to hurt people. I got it.
Yeah, same.
And I wasn't out to hurt Krispies. It's just they came on the show. They asked to come on the show, defend themselves, and they started attacking people. And I just kind of defended it.
That whole situation, if you want to do a class on public relations and media relations, just watch that, and that's all you need to know about media relations. Don't do any of that. That's where
exactly.
All right?
Textbook.
All right. Hey, so we're getting towards the end here, and I like to end the show with the what's next fast forward. Going to ask you 4 or 5 quick questions here, and you said you love food. You're on death row. This is going to be your last meal. What restaurant are you having your last meal from in Huntington?
Oh, in Huntington.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Huntington.
Rolls out Skyline Chili and rolls out the Atri Subs in Maryland.
Okay.
But if I'm going to go to, I tell you what, I really love the Peddler.
Okay.
Now, do I get a beer with that too?
I'll let you have a beer. Yeah.
If I get a beer, I'm going to the Peddler.
Understood. What's the what do you think is the most underrated event in the city?
Underrated event in the city? Oh, I like the beer festivals, man. We had 2, Rails and Ales. I had the time of my life at Rails and Ales, and that was Peddler was there with that. I love the Rails and Ales, and there's just so much.
That's a good one right there.
I mean, I tell you what, I go to a lot of the Friday night concerts, 9th Street Live.
Appreciate
man. That's a blast, and it's free.
That's
man.
Right. That's
that is free. Great bands, great people out there, and the weather's always great. It's there's so much in Huntington.
I
really.
Like it. What's one thing Huntington needs more of?
Believe it or not, I'm going to say music, and we have great talent, but we need to get it. I'm really happy to see Jerk Riley's because they do great in Ashland, building a music scene. There's some days when they'll have 5-6 bands. They'll play all day on like Saturday. There's so much talent. Corduroy Brown, I love Corduroy Brown. I have seen, he told me personally that I've probably been to more concerts than anybody maybe besides his family.
Got it.
But I've seen Corduroy 15, 20 times, man. We have so much local talent. Of the Dell. Oh, I mean, just so many great bands that I love.
The next question involves bands. So, what is the best band you've ever seen in Huntington? And I am talking like a national tour or something like that. What's the best band you've ever seen in this town?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll go way, way back to 1982.
Let's do it. What we got?
Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. I mean, that's before Iron Maiden was Maiden.
At the arena?
Yeah. It was great. It was a Civic Center then. I mean, I've seen Ozzy. I've seen AC/DC in Charleston. And I've seen the Zach Bryan thing blew me away.
I got it.
Man. I'm such a big fan of Zach Bryan.
We'll go with Iron Maiden, Judas Priest. That's your answer. You can't change that. That's the first one you said. And
I'd still stick with that.
That's
and that
a hell of an answer.
Before Judas Priest was even, but before they even have you got another thing coming.
I like
it. Was, a lot of people didn't know who they were then, yeah.
And that's our episode. Thanks for listening. What's Next is a Kindred Communications podcast. If you enjoyed What's Next, please like, share, or subscribe, and please leave us a 5-star review. We'll be back soon with more stories from the people making things happen in our region. So stay tuned and find out what's next.